for a heavyweight. Louisville, America, and the world say farewell to Muhammad Ali.
We all are here for the greatest man on earth. That's Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali is the man.
He had fists of steel.
One of the things that he would tell people is not bragging if you can back it up. And look at how many times he backed it up.
And a heart of gold.
I can specifically tell you that they played patty cake. Those are things that as a dad, you never forget your entire lifetime.
He was funny. He was beautiful. He was the most perfect athlete you ever saw, and those were his own words.
This is the CBS Evening News with Scott Pelley reporting tonight from Louisville, Kentucky. Today, this city, named for Louis XVI, gave Muhammad Ali a send-off befitting a king. He was American royalty, one of the most famous and most admired people in the world. Champion fighter, ambassador for peace. And the world came here to Louisville to say goodbye.
So even in death, Muhammad has something to say.
Among those eulogizing Ali at an interfaith memorial service were his wife, Lonnie.
It is far more difficult to sacrifice oneself in the name of peace than to take up arms in pursuit of violence.
Former President Bill Clinton.
I will always think of Muhammad as a truly free man of faith. It is the choices that Muhammad Ali made that have brought us all here today in honor and love.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
And comedian Billy Crystal.
He was beautiful. He was the most perfect athlete you ever saw, and those were his own words.
Mourners included former heavyweight boxing champ Mike Tyson and actor Will Smith, who portrayed Ali on the big screen. The outpouring of love for Muhammad Ali began this morning in the streets of Louisville as the hearse bearing his casket traveled 23 miles from the funeral home to the cemetery where he was buried in a private service. Fans showered the car with so many flowers it became a moving shrine. Balloons of red and gold, the color of Ali's boxing gloves, filled the sky. The many people Ali touched in life wanted one more chance to touch him. They formed an impromptu honor guard to escort the slugger from Louisville off to his final rest. Ali's daughter, Hannah, tweeted from the motorcade a story that her father used to tell. I used to dream that I was running down Broadway in Louisville and the people were waving at me and clapping and cheering my name. I waved back. Then, all of a sudden, I just took off flying. One of the most poignant moments today was when Ali's hearse traveled down the street where he grew up. Jerika Duncan was there.
As Muhammad Ali's hearse rolled through his hometown,
Who was Ali?
The greatest.
Where was he from?
Louisville.
it felt like a parade of love. Hundreds showered him with red roses, while others ran with the chant. Celebratory moments were mixed with ones of sadness. The procession overwhelmed Bernice Pursley with emotion.
This has been one day I'll never forget. Ever, ever, ever.
In front of Ali's childhood home, mourners rushed to the motorcade. Family members rolled down their windows to say thank you. 51-year-old Sharon Cummings was a school teacher at Central High, where Ali graduated. She met him twice.
Muhammad Ali, you have touched every single person in the state, in the country.
The loss for Louisville is especially tough, Scott. The people here knew him first, and many say they knew him the best.
Jerika, what a great job you've done here all week. Thank you so much. Well, they knew him first as Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr., born a mile and a half from here, January 17th, 1942. Ali had reason to turn his back on his hometown in the Jim Crow South, but he never did. And so both the athlete and the city were transformed on the long road to justice. Here's Dean Reynolds.
Though one of its main streets now bears the name Muhammad Ali Boulevard, the city of Louisville has not always embraced its hometown hero.
And we just sat there on those logs and just talked for a while.
Billy Reed covered Ali for the Louisville Courier-Journal. He says Ali's refusal to serve in the military, his conversion to Islam, and his brashness offended many of his neighbors.
I loved him so bad he had to go to the hospital.
A lot of people here just really felt disenchanted with him, and even worse than that.
Back when Ali was born in 1942, Louisville was a segregated slice of the Old South. And even after he won Olympic gold in 1960, a restaurant here refused to serve the Louisville Lip. When the city council did change the name Walnut Street to Ali Boulevard in 1978, it was on a 6-5 vote. But as Ali mellowed, so did much of Louisville. The Muhammad Ali Center now sits right along the riverbank, a multicultural museum devoted to his legacy.
The Pendennis Club.
Downtown, Billy Reed pointed out the private club on Ali Boulevard that once resisted using that address.
He became such a forgiving person. I think that would make him feel good to see that they are honoring him in this particular way.
Muhammad Ali.
Reverend Charles Elliott of the King Solomon Baptist Church first met Ali when the future champ was 13 and says his attachment to the city was always strong.
If he was out of the country, he would have him to know I'm from Louisville, Kentucky.
Do you think Muhammad Ali made Louisville a better city?
He calls us to look another way, look the right way.
It's just a little more than 5 miles from Ali's boyhood home here to his final resting place. But Scott, for Muhammad Ali and the city of Louisville, it's been a long journey in many different ways.
Dean Reynolds with the perspective of history today. Dean, thank you. Well, in the mid-1960s, Ali met a UCLA basketball star who was then named Lou Alcindor. They were lifelong friends who shared a bond in their conversion to Islam. We sat down with the 6-time NBA champion Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in Louisville today. What would Ali say about today?
I'm sure he'd like the attention, but he actually was a humble man. He gave us a great example, and that's what he was all about.
How did you meet Ali?
Geez, I met Ali at a party when I was a freshman at UCLA. And he just spontaneously came over and picked up a guitar and acted like he was playing it. But that's when we got to know each other, and we struck up a friendship that has lasted this long.
I understand that Ali visited you in the locker room.
Yeah, sometimes he tells me funny stories. One of the funniest stories he told me was about people gave him some minor birds that had been trained to say Ali. That's all they would say. He had 6 or 8 minor birds. Ali, Ali. So I said, you still got those birds? That was pretty neat. He said, no, I had to get rid of those birds, man. Every time I come in the house, they just make a whole racket. I couldn't sleep. I got rid of those birds, but don't tell anybody.
You know, I've been thinking this week about Ali going to jail in defense of his opposition to the draft in the Vietnam War during the prime of his career.
That is true integrity. That is standing up for what you believe in. And it took a while, but the nation came around to see it his way.
What is one thing that you learned from Ali that you took on board and made part of your own life?
You have to make it real. People do not respond to you if you're not real. They want to see something that is sincere and from your heart. And everything he did was from his heart. Even his bragging, you know, one of the things that he would tell people, it's not bragging if you can back it up. That's the proof in the pudding.
It's not bragging if you can back it up.
It's not bragging if you can back it up.